very important to bring you back for a couple of reasons. For one, the message that you have of going above and beyond and making sure that any barrier that's encountered is we're able to achieve to cross that barrier.
So how do you apply my No Barriers Only Solutions message and the things that came out of last night's keynote to public safety?
Well, I think it sent a resounding message that anything that we're truly faced with, whether it be a incident where people are killed or just an everyday routine call, that we need to find a solution to cross the barrier and succeed in our mission, which is to provide public safety to the community and the residents of Kanawha County.
Now, Dave, you came out through the very unusual and interesting way in the fire system. You were a kid who hung out at a firehouse, and then at 16, tell us just a little piece of your story. How did you get to be where you are today?
Well, my grandfather actually was a Charleston firefighter back in the 40s and 50s, and some people say maybe it's just the way I grew up, but I came through the ranks at Bell Fire Department, started out as a junior fireman, and the men, my dad was an alcoholic, my dad wasn't in the picture. These men took to me and they took care of me. They made sure I wasn't getting into things that I shouldn't be getting into, and not only was I held accountable at home by my mom, but I was held accountable at the firehouse to the men who were there trying to make a difference in my life.
So part of that accountability, yesterday we visited the Bell Fire Department, and there was a very proud moment for you. You were fire chief over at Bell, and one of the things that you were involved in was a fire truck very similar to the one we are sitting here on. Tell me about that fire truck and what was so special about it.
That was one of the last investments that I made at that fire department before I decided to retire from that department. We spent $225,000. I signed my name to a note, and I learned yesterday that that truck was paid off a couple of months ago, and that was huge to me because it meant a lot to me that the passion I have is now being moved on by Chris Fletcher, the fire chief, and he took it upon himself as to find that truck, to bring me in on it, and then present it to our department. It's something that we purchased together. It wasn't something one person did, and we did it as a team, and now the barrier of it being fully ours, it's ours now. It's paid off, there's no note, and it was just an awesome feeling to know that debt is now resolved.
Now, we also talk about the ownership mentality. We are we have professional firefighters and we have volunteer firefighters. How different are the two groups?
Well, as far as training is concerned, there is no difference because the state of West Virginia and NFPA 1001 requires us all to be at the same level of training. The barrier there between volunteers and the paid guys is the fact that they have more time. They're actually working a shift. The volunteer runs calls when they can, and they try to train as much as possible, but there's the time element. You're juggling a job, you're juggling a family, and you're juggling community service. So that's the true difference, is one's getting paid for it and the other one's doing it just to be helpful in the community.
And of course we're competing in some ways with soccer and t-ball and baseball, because these are all the other things that's pulling time. We still only have 24 hours in the day.
Well, at the end of the day, the bottom line is I couldn't do the things that I do without family support. I mean, it takes us all to be able to do that. And fortunately, I have support at home when I'm out on calls and doing emergency management issues, that I'm comfortable doing my job. I have a wife who takes care of the things at home, so I'm fortunate.
Now today the economics are shifting. We have come through the 2008 recession. The tax collection of cities have fallen substantially. We are in the new norm of having to do so much more with so much less. What is this impact on fire departments and emergency management, the police, the first responders?
Well, fortunately in Kanawha County and the city of Charleston, the president of our county commission is very very in tune with our emergency services. He has a desire to see it succeed. We have not cut funding to emergency services from the county standpoint. There has been some changes in as far as manning stations inside the city of Charleston, but as far as funding is concerned, the county commission is still giving the same amount that they've given since 2008, even today in 2012.
Except there's been no pay raises in 4 years.
The employees of the county have not received a pay raise, but we've not decreased our work staff. There's been no layoffs, and we're still providing the same level of service, and that goes a long way. I'd rather have a job than a pay raise and a paycheck that's coming in every 2 weeks.
Now, also, yesterday we had the opportunity to go over to the Air National Guard, who are responsible for the airport, both on the military and the civilian side.
Yes.
But there is a very unusual, a very interesting relationship, because you have to think beyond Canal County.
Right.
You have to think in terms of this whole region, and not everybody has your resources. There are some of the other fire departments. So let's talk about that partnership across jurisdictions.
Well, we're very fortunate to have the Yeager Air Force, or the Yeager Airport, to have the United States Air Force base here in Charleston. They have a fire department that actually covers the airport, and not only that, but they do a public partnership with us by coming off that hill and responding to incidents around the airport that comes in jurisdiction with the city of Charleston, a paid department, and then with a volunteer department that sometimes has trouble getting folks out, which all volunteer fire departments during the day have trouble getting folks to respond. Fortunately, they help us by coming off the airport tarmac and coming into our areas and bringing the resources that they have to help the citizens of Canal County.
And one of the other advantages of this is there are very, very few incidents that take place on the airport. So by putting the Department of Defense firefighters back in on the civilian side, they continue to get hands-on, not just additional training, but actual field experience.
That's correct. The majority of what they run off of that hill is car wrecks and house fires. There's not a lot of that taking place on the airbase. You know, they might get an aircraft coming in that maybe the engine has gone out, they have a blown tire, but as far as everyday structural firefighting or actual rescue from vehicles and things, those aren't things that they get trained on every day. But coming off that hill and interacting with the paid departments and the volunteers, they're cross-training. They're getting the same training on a day-to-day basis that we're getting out there every day.
We also had the opportunity to sit down with Chief Scarborough, the head of the police department, and again, seeing some tremendous relationships that have been built. We are looking at emergency services, not just fire department, not just ambulance and EMT and paramedics, police departments. We're actually looking at one integrated unit. And this morning I had the privilege of spending time over at the 911 call center. So let's talk a little bit about that relationship that you have interdepartmentally with other branches of city government.
Well, we work very well with all the agencies. They come together. It's not what I can do, but what can we do to help mitigate whatever the issue is, whatever the problem is. There is no one person's trying to take the glory from the field. They just want to accomplish whatever the mission is, get it done in the most fiscal responsible way that we can. So we have a very good working relationship with the Sheriff's Office. Chief Rutherford makes sure that his personnel are always readily available to us at a moment's notice. We have we use the command structure that is NIMS compliant. So we just all fall after 9/11. We saw the need for this. Of better integrated and using each other's resources. That way everybody's not going out and buying the same resources and then wasting money where we could redirect it into other areas.
Okay. David, so this has been an incredible honor being in Charleston, West Virginia. One of the other things that I found, people have their own versions and their own visions of West Virginia. Some state out there. My experience in West Virginia has been one of the most hospital welcoming, enlightening time. I want to really say a huge thank you for bringing me to meet the Emergency Service of West Virginia, to continue a relationship here with the people of West Virginia. You truly are an ambassador for your community and for West Virginia. Dave, thank you for having me in town.
It's been a pleasure.